and I really wanted to take just a really quick minute here to answer some questions about how to pay off a mortgage faster. So I got a question on my channel, other than just making, or paying a little bit extra, what are different ways that you can pay off your mortgage faster? And really there aren't a whole lot of, avenues that you can use to get this done other than that, but let me just go through the really quick list of the different things that you can do if you have a mortgage and you want to get out from under it faster, or if you want to buy a house but you don't want to be chained to that debt for a really long time, just to make the right decisions and then hopefully help get you out of that debt faster. So the first one would be bi-weekly payments. So my husband actually gets paid every other week. It's every other Thursday. And so that means, because there isn't exactly 4 weeks in a month, most months anyway, other than February, he actually ends up getting 3 paychecks twice a year. This usually happens, I think in like June and December, that he's been getting the 3 paychecks. And so what happens if you have a bi-weekly payment going to your mortgage, what you do is you set it up to where they take that money out every 2 weeks just like that. And then you end up, this is actually good for several reasons. The first is that you, like my husband, would end up making actually more payments than if you were to just make straight monthly payments. And then the second reason why this is good is because it actually saves the interest. So you're accumulating interest the whole month long and then you pay your mortgage. So if you were to actually make a payment kind of halfway through the month and then again, you actually are cutting down on the interest that you're paying by paying more frequently. Hopefully this makes sense. So yes, bi-weekly payments is actually a pretty good option if your lender offers them. Unfortunately, ours didn't, and so that was fine. We figured that'd be, just the same if we did some of the other methods to pay it off faster. But definitely, if you want to consider this method, if you get paid every other week or whatever, or even like if you get paid the 1st and the 15th, you can sometimes set it up that way to where you pay it twice a month. During the month, just closer to your pay dates and stuff like that. So you don't have to like save half of it on the 15th. And then when you get paid on the 1st, pay the other half of it. You actually just pay that half on the 15th and then pay 15th and then pay the other half on the 1st, that sort of thing. So again, this can be negotiated with your, mortgage company. But yeah, this is definitely a really good method. And the number 2 method would be to make an extra payment once a year. So back when I first bought my first house, we were told, when interest rates are higher, they're lower now, of course, but when they're higher, it used to be, like I said, if you had a 30-year mortgage and you made 1 extra payment a year, you would pay it off in 15 years. That's not the case anymore because the interest rates are lower now. So it doesn't cut down on as much interest as it used to, but it still makes a big impact. So what if, it used to be that 30-year mortgage got cut down to, 15, and now that only cuts it down to 20 or something like that. Oh well, that's 20 is still better than 30 is what I'm saying. So if you can swing an extra payment once a year, say you have a bonus, say you get some kind of a big commission check, say you get a tax return, whenever it is that you have a larger influx of money, make that extra payment. That's a good choice too. The third method would be to make extra with each payment. So if you had a mortgage and your mortgage payment is $850 a month, just round it up to $1,000 or $1,100 or whatever. Just add a little bit extra to it. You're going to chip away at that mortgage faster. You're going to buy down your principal faster, and of course you're reducing the interest that you owe. And so yeah, just living a maybe more frugal lifestyle or whatever, this is a good method. And then if something were to ever happen, you were to lose your job, hours were cut back, and the best you can do is just the regular mortgage payment, you're fine. But if you're stretching yourself to make, the minimum mortgage payment, then when hours get cut, it's going to really be harder, to cut it back. You can't cut your mortgage payment back then. So yes, this is my favorite method actually, adding extra to each mortgage payment, just to buy down that debt faster. The last method is going to be to refinance. So if you had a mortgage and it's 30 years and you're like 2 or 3 years into it, refinance and maybe get a 20-year. Or if you're, got a 20-year mortgage and you're a few years into it, then maybe buy it down to a 10-year or something like that. Just refinancing to get a shorter mortgage is usually better than just riding out the mortgage that, a person currently has, but it also depends on how far they are into it. If they're more than halfway through their mortgage, it usually makes sense. And again, this can be different from each person's situation, but if you're about halfway through the mortgage or less, then it usually makes more sense to refinance than it does to just kind of continue to ride out the mortgage. Because even though you may have to pay some closing costs in order to get a refinance on your mortgage, the savings that you'll end up with a shorter mortgage and paying less in interest and whatnot over the course of the loan usually pays, well over how much you had to spend in order to get that, mortgage refinanced. So again, this is just a general rule, but, definitely take this one and, play with your own numbers and your own situation. But if you're, halfway through or less, definitely consider a refinance. And then sort of, I know I just said the last one, but this one sort of goes with the same one, is if you're thinking about buying a house and you want to, pay off your house faster, I would highly recommend considering a shorter mortgage to begin with. Looking into, not necessarily getting, because, everybody's situation is different, and, shorter mortgages aren't always right for everyone. But it's certainly an option, and if this is one of your goals, then definitely give it some thought. But yeah, just maybe look into them and then see how much of a savings it would be. And of course, don't overextend yourself, because it's by far better to get a longer mortgage that you can afford than a shorter one that you can't. So again, this isn't right for everyone, but definitely look into it. Consider the purchase price of your house, or the houses in the area, and, strive for the shortest mortgage that you can without overextending yourself. So there are my favorite methods to helping to buy down your debt and to pay off your mortgage faster. You can use one method, you can use all of them, but they definitely work and they definitely help get you out of your mortgage faster. So thank you for joining me on this video today. I'm Frugal Green Girl, and we'll see you next time.